Today we're going to look at one weird but wonderful succulent. Titanopsis calcarea, aka concrete leaf, jewelweed and carpet leaf, is a plant native to South Africa. It uses mimicry to blend into its environment and avoid being eaten. In the wild, it blends in so well you would only be able to spot it when it flowers. Calcarea is a small growing clumping succulent that will not grow much larger than about 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Individual rosettes only grow to approximately 5 centimeters or 2 inches. The size will very much depend on the growing conditions and root space. It grows quite slow and will take some time to produce offsets. Calcarea doesn't grow too tall either and stays quite flat. It only reaches a couple of centimeters or about an inch. The leaves are super interesting with the warty growth on the tip. They are very short but thick and fleshy and quite rough to the touch. They form a low rosette shape growing out of a short stalk. The tips are rounded and dotted with whitish raised circular tubercles. The color is mostly grey or blue-green. During the cooler months or when stressed, a reddish color can come through. This succulent will grow best outdoors in a bright sunny spot. It does tolerate outdoor shade and filtered light but can stretch as a result and can get rot. Fungal diseases such as rot are more likely to attack when succulents are grown in shaded spots that are often more humid. Calcarea is quite tolerant of being grown indoors on a sunny windowsill. It's very low maintenance as it grows slow and likes it dry, so not much watering is necessary. It will, however, always grow best outdoors. If you live in a frost-free part of the world, Calcarea can be grown in the garden. But because it grows low to the ground, the best position in the garden will be around the edges where it cannot get overgrown by other plants. It is quite tiny and other plants can easily grow over it. When growing in the ground, you can help it establish by mixing in any type of potting mix and a bit of sand with the garden soil. The roots on this plant are thin and can find it difficult to break through hard dirt. When growing succulents in the garden, it's best to choose a slope, raised beds or a spot where water doesn't pool after the rain. Titanopsis like a very well draining light potting mix. I use a succulent potting mix which works very well, but you can also use an even more well draining potting mix such as grit, as Calcarea likes it pretty dry. As mentioned earlier, if planting in the garden, add a bit of potting mix as well as a drainage agent. So Calcarea really does not like it very wet. If you can help it, it's best the potting mix dries out completely between waterings. Although these plants can survive rainy weather, they are much happier in a greenhouse or under cover. Temperature-wise, it will tolerate heat well over 40 degrees Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit, though it should be moved out of the sun once it gets this hot. If exposed to direct sun during extreme heat waves, the leaves can suffer sunburn and the plant could die, especially when planted in dark-colored pots. Calcarea is not very frost-hardy. It can get frostburns and even die when temperature drops below the freezing point for too long. If you only get the occasional frost, use frost cloth to protect your succulents. During deeper frost or snow, bring this plant indoors for the duration. Calcarea can be propagated by splitting up clusters or from seed. Personally, I don't think it's possible to propagate from leaf. I certainly have not been successful when I tried, but if you have, do let us know in the comments. For fast-ish results, take apart clumps. There is a chance some offsets will not make it, especially if they are only small. I would highly suggest only separating ones that look well developed and mature. After separating, leave the offsets to dry for about 24 hours before planting. This will give the wound a chance to heal and prevent harmful organisms from getting in. Once the wound is dried, they can then be planted into pots filled with succulent potting mix. The pot should only be quite small. New roots should start growing in 3 to 4 weeks and the plant will be ready to transplant in approximately 3 to 5 months. If you want to grow loads, seed propagation is pretty easy and reliable. I normally don't recommend growing succulents from seed as it can be difficult for a number of reasons. However, some succulents such as Titanopsis or Lithops are not too bad. I typically order seed at the beginning of spring and sow in mid to late spring once it's quite warm. You can use any shallow tray such as the ones that are used for small berries or even a cleaned out meat tray. Poke a few holes at the bottom and fill with either seed raising or succulent potting mix. The seeds are tiny and so it's just easy to scatter them in a tray and let them germinate and grow a bit until they are big enough to handle. This can take 6 months or more as Titanopsis are slow growing. While germinating, it may be best to cover your tray to keep the moisture in or water frequently to keep the potting mix moist. Calcarea is not bothered by pests much. I've not really seen any aphids, only the odd mealybug, but even they tend to be pretty rare. Root mealybugs, however, are quite common, so do check on those roots at least once every year. The flowers are really cute and grow from the rosette center. They are yellow and daisy-like with many narrow petals. They grow on a short stem just a bit above the leaves. Flowers on Calcarea can appear multiple times per year depending on your climate. Titanopsis are said to be non-toxic and safe for humans, dogs, cats and other pets. Having said that, please do not eat this plant. And that is all for today. I hope this video was useful, and if you'd like to add anything or would like to ask a question, you can do so in the comments below. To learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you so very much for watching.